Should be good. No, hey, Betsy.
All right. My name's Betsy Christie. I'm so excited to be here. I started my working life working as a career counselor at a college in the last century. And I loved it. I just loved working with career decision makers, college students that were trying to figure out what they wanted to do. And I just loved it. And I've moved on and done other things, but I have since always just loved to help friends, help other people that I know with career stuff. So I decided to talk to you about information interviewing because I love that. And I am not under any illusion that I'm going to tell you anything you don't already know. I think perhaps I will be an encourager and help you get excited about the process because I think this can be, as I talk to people about the way job search is now, it's so impersonal. There's so many ways to just not talk to people, and anything that we can do, I think, to talk to people is really a blessing. So anyway, let me figure out how to share my screen. Yay! I thought I would show you what might be, I can't walk around really, can I, because of the camera. What might be the very first What Color is Your Parachute book. This is Richard Bowles. This is a revised 1988 What Color is Your Parachute. There. And they're still publishing it every year. There's the last one that I found was 2022. So maybe there's even a more recent one. I just loved it. I'd get a lot of kids that would come in and, they'd say, well, can I just take a test and learn what I'm supposed to do with my life? And, it's so much more complicated than that, as you know. So I was given just to say more, I was given the opportunity to go to a week-long workshop with Richard Bowles in Colorado Springs. I'm pretty sure it was all about information interviewing. So anyways, yeah, but then that was a long time ago. Just a little bit about me. I've worked in a lot of different places. I left my career counseling job and I worked as in public relations for recruiting for the Peace Corps. And that transitioned me to the federal government. So I worked in public relations with Immigration and Naturalization Service. And then they moved me to work in the Equal Employment Opportunity Office. And when we moved to Tennessee, I quit being a government employee and I started contracting back. So I'm still a government contractor with the federal government. So I do know a lot about the federal job search process, and I could be a resource on that. But and in my job now, I investigate discrimination complaints and I interview people all the time. I'm always talking to people. So anyways, that's me. One thing about information interviewing is you probably won't do it until you've figured out what your skills are, what you want. So there's some work that you would need to do first. What skills do you enjoy using? What skills do you want to offer an employer? So that would be the first step. And we're going to pretend that you've already done that, which perhaps you have. Perhaps you need to go back and spend some more time thinking about what your skills are, your transferable skills, what it is you have to offer. But information interviewing steps in once you kind of have a sense of what you have to offer. And it's a way to explore how your skills are needed in the world of work. Richard Bowles talks about these 4 questions that you should ask. Move this so I can see it all. That information interviewing can help you figure out what jobs would use your strongest and most enjoyable skills or knowledges. What organizations have such jobs? Which of these organizations are of interest to you? And what do these organizations need right now, and how can your skills meet those? So those would be the 4 questions that can be answered with information interviewing. I think information interviewing can just help break through all the noise of the regular recruitment process, all the online stuff, all the virtual stuff. It's just a way to add a personal touch to the search, and it can lead to untapped resources. And I suggest to you that they'll help keep you sane. When you're finding out that you're talking to recruiters in Bangladesh and, crazy, all this online stuff, if you could just have a real person that will chat with you on the phone or talk in person. It's just a way to keep sane during the process. So I encourage you, even if you're far beyond this in your job search, maybe take a step back and add some personal touch things to your life as a way to keep yourself sane. I think when you're asking to talk to somebody for an information interview, I think you need to be honest with yourself. You might be really panicky and you need a job and you heard that they have a job at this company that they're working for. You really want to just find out who's hiring and you really, really want that job. I mean, if that's your reason for information interviewing, you probably know that's not really the way it's supposed to be used. But be honest, if that's really what you're doing, how can you be transparent about that? And what do you hope to get out of your conversation with this person that you've tracked down? You might want to just learn more about the organization in general. You might want to just get some strokes about your own skills and your own potential. Oh, and the first one is you might want to just find out what their job is. You know, you're going to be interested in the kind of job that that person has. And you want to just learn more about that. You might just, your goal is just to be seen and for somebody to remember you for a job in the future. There's nothing wrong with that. And maybe to get a referral, maybe your motivation is to get a referral to somebody else. You know that this person isn't really going to help you, but you think maybe they could help you find somebody else to talk to. So I'd suggest, first of all, be really honest about where you are in your phase of the job search and what you hope to get out of talking to somebody. I'd say start out, this is what Richard Bull says, and this is, I did also look at some YouTube videos to see what the recent stuff is, and it's the same thing. You go through and you make a list of everybody that you know, and perhaps you've already done this. Everybody you can think of. Pick some low-hanging fruit to start with. Start with your easiest contacts, the ones that are going to be the most exciting to talk to. Do some research before you go in. Find out about a little bit about where they work and what they do. You don't want to go in blind. It makes you look better if you've got a little information. Consider those 4 questions before. What are you trying to find out about their job, about their organization, about the industry? What are you wanting to find out? So you prepare the question that you're going to ask them. And I also suggest that you craft your outreach message. Doesn't that sound good? So what do you want them to remember about you? And then plan on how you're going to convey those things. You know, do you want them to remember that you have lots of great experience in one place, or that you have a real variety of experience, or that you know a particular system, or that you're just really enthusiastic person, or that you're kind of an introvert, hard work person? You know, what do you want them to know about you, and how are you going to let them know? Other ways to find folks. I talked to my daughter who's 33, and she works, she just got a new job working in a company that sells adaptogenic mushrooms for sleep and focus and partying. And so it's really interesting, but she's kind of up there in the job search. And I said, you know, do you get people asking you for, did you do information interviews and did you ask people? And she talked about through LinkedIn that people will approach her. And, you know, when they say, and she knows that their company has a job posted and somebody very clearly sends her a message on LinkedIn and says, oh, can I talk to you because I want this job? You know, she's like, no, no, no. But if somebody approaches her, even on LinkedIn, and says, hey, I see you went to this university, I did too, and you've got this job, I'm really interested in learning more about what you do. She goes, yeah, I'll usually talk to them. So LinkedIn can work. Again, you're going to be transparent and clear and focused on what you would like. Attend professional meetings, luncheons, panel discussions, meetups. My daughter also said she spoke at a panel. I don't think this was about the mushroom job. This was her previous job, which was fancy high-powered juices. So she lives in Boulder, Colorado. So she started out working for a granola company and moved to juice, and now it's mushroom. Yeah. So, but she did it, was in a panel discussion, and somebody came up to her after the panel discussion and started asking her questions and asked for an information interview. And she said that was just great. It was so flattering to her that somebody thought that what she said during the panel was interesting. Say yes to invitations and gatherings. So I have this 35-year-old friend that lives in Memphis, and she came to visit me last weekend. And I said, Lauren, we're going to go to this 60th birthday party for my friend with all these other 60-year-old people, and I need you to come with me. She's like, okay. Well, Lauren hates her job and she wants another job. And so she was just chatting up people in her normal way. And she was kind of nervous, not too nervous about being around a bunch of old people, but she got so many suggestions. Here, you should talk to my friend who's in Memphis and does this and does this. And somebody else gave her connections. And just in her normal conversations, she just got lots of feedback, which I hope was really encouraging to her. There was one guy that was kind of driving her crazy, and I said, well, he was just trying to be encouraging. So, you take the good with the bad. And I hope she felt good and encouraged, because people really, really like to help. They like to feel like they can help, they want to help. I think it's a great opportunity that you're giving other people to share what they might know. I don't know, chat up folks while you're waiting in line for something. Ask your relatives for a list of people. Does anybody have other ideas on how to find people that you can talk to about what they do in their organization?
Alumni groups.
Yep, that's great. Yeah, perfect.
Charities.
Yeah, that's
opportunities.
yeah. Go volunteer, and while you're there, just talk to people. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's referrals from people that you meet as well, right? So if you meet somebody from one company, have them refer you to meet other people at that company.
And you're just the curious person who's trying to learn about this business. You're not the desperate person looking for a job and needs it last week, because that's going to be scary to them. They just want to get to know you and help you. So even if you are the scary person who needed a job last week, how can you present yourself as a way that's curious and enthusiastic? Okay, I'm very aware that I'm an extroverted person, and this sounds like an easy thing to me, and I know it's not easy for everyone. It's hard to talk to strangers, and for some people it's harder than others. And I just encourage you to start small, approach people who are approachable, who share enthusiasms that you have, who loves what you love. Start out with people that your mom's friend who works at a company doing something that you're interested in that company, but she doesn't do anything related to what you want to do. But she loves you because she's known you since you were 3, and she'll just chat you up and tell you things. I mean, just start out with easy things. And I suggest and invite you to find out that it'll get easier as you go. All right. When you make your initial contact, you explain who you are, how you know them, tell them what you are asking of them, and be transparent about it. Remember, we went back to those 4 questions of what you're trying to find out about the organization or the industry or their particular job, and ask if they would meet with you for 10 to 15 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes. It could just even be a phone call or maybe a coffee, and I'll go to coffee, right? So you can suggest that. And if they decline, an easy way to get out of that, because that's embarrassing when somebody says no, you can say, well, can you suggest somebody else? Can you think of somebody else, given what I've told you about myself, somebody else that I can talk to? So that's just a way to try to make the most of your contact. And here's the thing, people love to talk about themselves. I told you in my job, I do interviews all the time, and I'll have to call people and ask them about a discrimination incident, but I always have to ask them, what's your job and what do you do? People love to talk about their jobs. So don't make it harder than it needs to be. Most people will talk too much about their jobs, and you'll wish they would quit talking about their jobs and talk about something else. But I think that if you've done it, you'll probably know that. So these are just some suggested questions. I was thinking, first of all, your question would be, how did you get into this line of work? And I kind of think that would not be a good starting question, because then they're going to go back to, when I was 17, I worked in a, and you want to find more current information. So I'd start out, tell me about your current job. What skills do you use? What's the most rewarding part of your job? What's the most frustrating? What's been your biggest professional win? I like that one. What's been something that surprised you about working here? I think that's a good question to find out about problems in the organization without being negative. What other jobs in this company use the same type of skills? How do you keep up to date in your profession? That's a good one too, because then you can kind of show off if you have knowledge or you've taken classes or you've kept up to date in it, you could say, well, have you read this or whatever? Asking them what hard and soft skills do you think are necessary. So all of these, you're not going to ask them at the very beginning. You're not going to talk to them about you from the very beginning. You're going to talk to them about them and get them talking. And your questions are going to be clever enough that they appreciate who you are. If it seems appropriate, you can ask them to look at your resume and give you some advice. That wouldn't be, you would just have to use your good sense if that was it. And then at the end, who else should I talk to and can I use your name? Does anybody have any other questions that they've found to be really good in breaking the ice or talking to people about their job?
What are some big hurdles that are currently?
Yeah. Yeah. What are some big hurdles that you're experiencing right now, and how are you handling it? That's a good one too, to ask them about the industry. I mean, things are changing so fast. I mean, ask them about AI. Ask them about what's new in the industry that's changing since, you know, I haven't worked in this industry or I've never worked in this industry. What's changing now? What are the hurdles? What's changing? Well, you guys, we're gonna
I was thinking of we are coming up to the holidays with these holiday parties, things like that. These are almost like cocktail questions. Oh, you do this? What you and you can basically informational interview somebody in a casual social setting,
yeah.
off the cuff, and then like you said, asking who else would you recommend I talk to?
That's great.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Gives you something to talk about besides the weather. So
Yeah, exactly.
And again, people love to talk about what they do, and
Mm-hmm.
and deeper questions than just what's your job. Oh, that's interesting. Gosh, what was your biggest professional win this year? That's a great year-end question.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great idea.
That's good.
Well, I thought, because I don't really like to talk in front of a group as much, I thought it might be interesting to let you talk to each other. So we are going to do practice interviews with each other. So if you're comfortable with this, if you're not, I'm going to suggest that you get in pairs. If you're not so comfortable being part of a practice information interview, you could ask another group if you could just be an observer, or you could just observe. And for the people at home, Scott is going to pair you up into breakout groups, but don't do it yet. So JD has very bright and color, invigorating and motivating sheets of paper. So each of you are going to get one of these. And if you are at home, I'd like you to get a sheet of paper. Hopefully you brought a sheet of paper, and you're going to fold it into thirds. Hot dog style. Did you ever hear that? This is hot dog. If you fold it this way, it's hamburger style because it's more of a hamburger shape. Isn't that clever? You're going to fold it into thirds. All right. So on the back, so you're going to take turns. One of you is going to be the interviewer, and one of you is going to be the interviewee. So on the very back, you're going to write what job you're going to have when you're interviewed. So you can pick a job that you've had in the past, an experience you've had in the past. So you're just going to write what it is, just so you know. Like when I was a bank teller at Truist or whatever, you're going to write that. All right, so write that down first in the very back. In the back, and then you're going to turn it over and open it up. You're going to write what job you're going to be when you're doing your role play. What's your job going to be?
What it is right now.
It could be your job now, but if you don't want to talk about what your job now is now, you can pick your job that you had a while ago, or just what job do you want to talk about when you were interviewed?
Anyone share? And you can bring it back after this. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, good. So they can see better. So yes, so the back. Then you're going to flip it over so that it folds like this. And on the top part, I want you to write what you want to convey about yourself. You know, just this isn't what you're going to say out loud, but you know, that you're an enthusiastic person, that you have 12 years experience in data entry. This is going to be, what are you hoping to convey about yourself? It doesn't really matter what page you put it on. Just put it on another page. Pardon? Oh, you're going to put what it is you hope to convey. So the first one was what job you're going to hold. So when you're interviewed, what job are you going to say you have? But now we're talking about you as the interviewer, the job seeker, and what do you hope to convey in your interview? So you can put what you really hope to convey when you meet people in your job search, or you can just make something up. If you want to say, I really want them to know I'm left-handed, put that down. Because that's always been my tip too when you're going in for a job interview too. You know, keep in your mind what you really want to be sure they remember about you when you're going. So this is that main thing. And then open it up. And then here I want you to write like 3 questions that you're going to ask. Now you don't know what your person's job is going to be. So you're going to just write 3 questions that you're going to ask in this role play. 3 questions you're going to ask your person who you don't know what their job is. Is everybody online figuring it out? Do you have any questions coming in?
Anybody online have questions? Are you tracking with us? Yeah, Wendy's good.
I had a question for you.
Yes, Ben.
Yeah, I had to step away to go find something to write on when you were explaining some of the inside of that paper.
Okay, I'll start from the beginning just to be sure. So the
Yeah.
one side is going to be when you're being interviewed, what job you're going to have. That's just so you know what job you're going to have. The rest of the questions are about you as an interviewer. First thing is what you want to convey. What's the essence of you that you want to convey during the interview? And then what are your questions that you're going to ask? That's what we're on right now.
Okay, I'll give that a shot, but thank you.
Okay. And then if you're done with that on another, it doesn't matter which panel, it's all a gimmick, just to get you excited with cool paper. What is your overall goal of this information interview? You just want to find out, really want to find out how much money they make. Not really that, but what's your overall goal in your interview today? To find out. Your overall goal of this interview. And I'd encourage you, if you actually are having an information interview, you spend some time thinking about these things before you go in. Don't just like show up for coffee. Think about, be a little intentional about what you want to accomplish. If you want, you could get some brightly colored paper and write it out like this. All right, so the people online are going to get paired up into a breakout room. And I'm going to say that you're going to spend 5 minutes with person A being the interviewer and person B being the interviewee. And that's going to happen here. You guys are going to split up too. And I'm going to give you a little bell when 5 minutes has happened, and then you're going to switch roles. The people that are online they'll be away and they won't be able to hear. So you guys keep track of your own time.
Track of your time.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah, after 5 minutes.
5 minutes each, yep.
Yeah. So we'll spend about 15 minutes doing this, given the 5 minutes each and getting started and all that. So any questions about how this is going to work? We'll have you two together, those two, and then you two here. Does that work? Yes.
For you online, make sure you take yourself off mute and if possible, turn on your cameras. What was the
All
question
right, are
here?
we all set? All right, let's have at it. It's going to be interesting to see if the breakout rooms work.
What job do you want to learn?
Oh no.
Well, yeah.
So I'm not sure how to go to a breakout room.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah, hang on, I'm getting it, folks.
Okay.
One. Is three.
This sort of thing. I've never done an information interview. I'm not on a mic still, am I?
You are.
I mean, are people hearing me?
And what's your company for?
I think they're going.
What do you know about
Should just be the three of us left. Yep. Betsy, don't worry about it. She's not. I don't.
For me, that's cool.
Betsy.
Oh,
That's your Zoom name. Okay. You can go in and change that pretty easily. If you, well,
Is that something that I'm a big photographer? I shoot. There's a underwater photography.
Well, panorama, image.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they're not
go into there. I don't know if it will stay that way. You've got to sit on the side of that. But at least that'll be a good first.
Yeah, I used to think about it all night and so
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so my question to you is,
For those online, if you haven't switched yet, go ahead and switch.
Yeah.
Like everyone has to take over my energy.
What's that?
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Everyone is right. I know. This will be our wedding anniversary, so that's
Okay.
maybe 18. So we would be in the, I enjoyed it.
What was the deal with Jeff for her career? His career?
What can we do tonight? What can we do tonight to help?
She did.
So that's why.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes though, it's. Yeah. I'll stress you out. They also like, if it's overwhelming. Just feel free to sit there, sir. Whatever you
And so the next question.
Get here on time.
Yeah, sure. I know. I'm just off.
All right, guys, time to.
Yeah, give it another couple of seconds and wrap it. This is good. Just try to see through row line.
There you go. Betsy.
Break rooms that they've got like 10 more seconds. Or do you just like?
60, when you said click 60.
Good. Oh, good.
Okay. Alright. I need to ask for a ratification.
Oh, it was so excellent. So excellent. It was fun. Glad to hear now.
Okay.
All right, is everybody back? Everybody back?
Okay.
It sounds like there was a lot of trouble talking, right? You guys were just sitting there. It sounded great. So how did it go? What sort of response do you have? How it went? How did it feel?
Nervous.
Yeah?
I couldn't talk enough about myself. Sorry. I felt nervous and I couldn't talk a lot. I couldn't describe myself, my likes or whatever.
When you were being interviewed or when you were?
when I was writing it and then when I was saying it.
Okay.
Because I said smart, and then when I was questioned about it, I was like, I don't think that's, how do I get that across?
Huh.
That just comes with experience to me. And I don't know. I'm still lost.
What I would say with that is, you say, okay, you know you're smart, and yeah, if you know a topic or a field you're working in, then you can use words to describe that. So I would just be free form on a piece of paper, write the word in the center, and then write things around that that relate to what you're meaning by that. And I think that'll help you to describe what you're talking about. That's what I was trying to get across too. I feel like one of the skills that I want people to know that I feel like is maybe an asset for me is that I'm empathic in a way. I can look at a situation, and if something's missing, I can try to draw that out
Mhm.
so that it's clearly communicated to the people that are there. That's part of what I do every day. I've got to explain things. I've got to fix things. I've got to listen to what somebody's saying. And I think in this situation, I don't know if we've said or not, but an informational interview is basically networking. You're just meeting with somebody, but it's for a purpose of basically your career. You're trying to find out either about the company they work for, maybe the department they work in, or just to get to know them a little bit better.
Mhm.
And then at the end of that, you can say, hey, who else do you think that I should talk to? Because by that point, you've not had 5 or 10 minutes to do this. You've had probably 20 or 30
Mhm.
because you've already established these different things before you went into it as far what you want them to know about you. And it's very well thought, and they'll see that when you're talking to them after the fact. They'll think, wait, we're really prepared for this. But you go into that with these ideas of what you want to ask, what you want to convey, and then you come back to them and say, hey, who else should I talk to? And after they've been listening to you for a while, they may not have the same preparation you do because you're just talking to them and asking them questions, but they might think of somebody else that you should talk to
Mhm.
or be able to give you a lead of something you should go and do. So I think
Right,
that's the
yeah.
whole idea. And that's what I was saying earlier is the idea of like a cocktail party or something or Christmas party.
Mhm.
You've got to stand there around for a while and mingle with people and chat to people. Maybe you've never met somebody might interview and you're a good listener and it might not go anywhere, but then again, you never know.
Right.
And it's good practice just getting around people and talking to them.
Yeah, it's good practice. And it's practice talking about yourself. If that's something you feel uncomfortable with, you get to practice that. If you're uncomfortable asking people questions, it's practice. It's just practice. It's so great. And it's face to face in people.
I think tonight's more akin to speed dating, but an informational interview, you've got more time to get information across.
Like speed dating, that's true. What else came up or what else did you learn? Yeah, about the online people. How did that work with the breakout rooms? Did you guys?
It worked out greatly. We just didn't have enough time to finish. We were enjoying talking so much.
You can ask us some key questions and people can just go. So, I think once you kind of get things started, if you can just ask questions, oh my gosh. Isn't that a lovely alarm? If you can get things going, conversational flow. Because like I said, people love to talk about themselves. So you can just keep asking questions, it'll keep going. And then, you got to figure out, if you got somebody who's spending a whole lot of time talking about themselves and lecturing you and it's feeling like they're taking advantage of you, then how do you say, well, that's interesting because that makes me think of this when I did this and I did this experience. So also don't let yourself get taken advantage of by somebody who just wants to bulldoze you with all of their knowledge. So what else? What else came up? The online people or the mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's good.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was saying I was a homemaker for a long time, so I like Michael's, and so
Right. So if
yeah.
somebody is taking advantage of your good listening skills, you start to feel taken advantage of, that's not a good thing either, because you want to have good listening skills. That's a great thing that you have to offer. But if you're feeling taken advantage of, you've got, if it's an information interview, if it's your boss doing it, you can't. But if it's an information interview, I thank you so much for your time. I got to go. Or who else can I talk to maybe to close it out? So.
And I don't know. I think in something like that, if you had that structure on a piece of paper, you can say, well, that's great. I appreciate you telling me all about that. I have a couple more questions I'd like to ask.
That's good. Yeah.
And you can steer this. Again, that's kind of, it's not controlling it, but you're steering it, being organized, being timely. And I something I was told years ago, I guess, and I needed to practice all this more, is that, you set basically a time frame and you tell them that when you go in and you stick to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that shows them that you're respecting their time. And
Yes.
then I think in turn, they respect you too.
There's so many ways you can convey who you are. And somebody online was going to talk that you can convey who you are by showing up on time and not taking more time than you said you would. I mean, that conveys a lot about how you are as an employee too. So that's perfect. Fred.
Yeah, they're all good comments. I think one question that's really useful is, it's all about people. It's what life's all about down here on Earth. So, who do you know that you think I should know is a really good question.
Oh, I love that.
For a second, I thought he meant down here, like in the South or Nashville, but I see what you mean.
Well, yeah, I don't
On
count
this
Nashville
planet, who do you
South. I
know?
know it is the South, but Florida is kind of where I love to be, and I lived there 27 years, so that's the South to me.
So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
oh,
I just learned that we used to work kind of together at a different organization. I guess that's all I have to say. Yeah, and it's all about I said my goal was to expand my network. You have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll add that, the informational interview is not necessarily about a particular job or position, but finding more about the company and possibly where you could fit. And so that's one thing I would like to convey, because that's how I would typically look at informational interviews.
yeah.
One thing about your elevator speech, if you're struggling with your elevator speech on how do you convey yourself to somebody, talk to yourself in a mirror. And that typically helps. It's helped me a lot. It's helped other people. It helps convey presence. It helps convey and draft what you want to convey to people.
I've heard of people using ChatGPT or I've heard of people using ChatGPT as to get that kind of discussion down, to being interviewed by it, back and forth.
I would think too, if you videotaped yourself giving that, I mean, I do that when I'm trying to figure out what outfit to wear. You take a picture and it looks different than looking in the mirror even. So videotape yourself with your elevator speech and then listen to it, see what it sounds like, because it'll be different than even the mirror.
Reverse that. I find just, I think the greatest invention ever was like when they put the phones in cars, not because I talk so much on the phone in my car, but I will practice like whenever I have to give a speech on anything in my car and it looks like I'm not crazy, just like sitting there rambling, but people think I'm just talking on the phone, even though I'm talking to myself. But in all seriousness, I mean, yeah, I think just kind of giving that practice, whether it's in front of the mirror, whether it's when you're driving down the road or whatever, just kind of alone, so you can kind of just kind of get your story down and kind of practice it, I think is incredibly beneficial. You mentioned something when you all talked about how you kind of found out that you used to work at the same organization, whatever. Don't discount that. I mean, because I think when you're sitting in those informational interviews, finding those commonalities, those points of contact, I think that's how you build sort of a connection and rapport with somebody. And you may be sitting down with somebody just as an informational interview, wanting to learn about the organization. But if you figure out like, hey, you know, our kids play on the same soccer team, or, you know, whatever it is, it's like it just instantly builds that connection and rapport. And it's going to make that person far more likely to be like, you know what, the person you really need to talk to in this organization is so and so. Let me refer you to them. But if they walk out of there and they're calling in and really like that guy, they may not make that referral. But if you build that sort of human connection, they're far more likely to do that. So I think it's great that, you know, that you guys discovered that. And, you know, I think you should always be looking to kind of make those just human connections as part of the informational interview.
So I have a question for you all to think or to answer. You were supposed to write down what you wanted to convey about yourself. How well do you think you did conveying that in subtle ways? Or did you do it? Did you figure out how to do it? Was it hard? You were okay? Okay.
But yeah, there's two ways of doing it. It's one is saying I'm friendly.
Oh.
And then there's the other way of demonstrating it, you know? So you might have it down and you're not saying it, but you're trying to get it across. Or there might be things that you actually want to tell them about and relate it to a point of how they are backing up what you're saying, you know?
Yes. And what I thought of when you first, Teresa, can't see that far. Tammy, when you first said that too, when I talk to people about actual job interviews, you know, you don't want to just say you're smart. Have a story ready to say that illustrates you being that way. It's a story. People love stories. If they're easier to hear stories, you know, tell about a problem you solved and how you like figured something out that nobody else could figure out, or, you know, have stories ready to go. Maybe not as much for information interviews, but definitely when you're interviewing.
Yeah, we'll keep working at it.
Yeah.
I just was thinking of different social events and other things. I went to a university. I'm not going to say which one, but they have a Greater Nashville University Club, and so there are places out there like that you can go to and meet people from the school you went to, if that's, or where it might be a high school or something. I know my high school is a small school, but they try to get a chapter going here in Nashville. So that might be a way of meeting people that have something in common with you. And in discussion with them, you might learn about somebody that works at a place that you want to work at, or they may be able to connect you with somebody somewhere you want to work, or that has a job that you want to know more about, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's great. I think more and more everybody's working from home, working remote, everything's being done Zoom or no offense.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I work at a company and we now have 4 people, are going to have 5 people after the beginning of the year that are outside of the mainland of the United States. And so I work with a company that's in another state. And so we're all basically online and calling people through our computers. And so it's a different world than we lived in even 10 years ago, you know? So there's jobs out there like that. And I think the particular company I work with now, there's like 1,000 maybe internal employees and 10,000 that are like contractors like myself. And then even the internal employees are all around the country, around the world, and may or may not go to the office all the time.
Right.
So that's something I enjoy doing, and I think it's good to have personal interactions. That's the point of these informational interviews. Yeah. And Jay threw me for a loop because he's talking about Thanksgiving next week. He's right. It's like a week from Thursday.
Yeah.
And so this holiday stuff is coming up fast on us. That's why it's good. There's a resource on the website. I think, mentioned earlier, a personal marketing brief. The idea behind that is not a resume. It's just to give you, and you'll see the illustrations there, something you can work on as basically a sheet of paper, companies you want to work for, jobs that you might want to take or do. And that's something you could share with somebody in an informational interview. It's not like you're giving them your resume, AKA a job application. You're just giving them a dossier of information about yourself and maybe talking, if you even do that. But that's where you go to holiday, parties with Aunt Betsy or whatever. You can give her this and say, talk to her a little bit about what you're doing or wanting to do. And she might think of somebody, if you're clear and concise about it, that she knows that might be able to talk, you might be able to talk to, like you talked about with this young woman that was 30 something, went to a group with 60 somethings. She was open to it, but yet you had all kinds of people trying to suggest things, some that might be helpful, some not.
Right.
But just by being there, she had opportunity.
Right. I think in closing, I think that information interviewing is an excellent opportunity to help in your job search, but also to keep you sane as you're in the cyber world on this job search. It's a way to connect with people, to have coffee, and to connect with real people. So I just encourage you, because I think we got to have each other. So thank you very much.
A lot of stuff going on in the hall. It'll help you get outside yourself to go follow.
That's a great idea.
Great idea. Yeah. Thank you all.
All right, thanks.
All right. Bye,
Thank
folks.
you.
I'll be
Thank you.
next week.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you. Yeah.
Everyone be well. Happy holidays.
Yes, thank you.
Like, should I have